East Coast to the world, scream it out.
Steady the barber,
Yeah.
steady the barber,
Fresh fade with the line, good looking out.
steady the barber,
Oh yeah, yeah.
steady the barber.
YouTube to the gram, scream it out.
YouTube, what's up? Today we're going to do a high skin fade with a comb-over. For the clippers, you'll need the Wall Magic clips and the Baby Bliss Pro Gold and Silver Trimmer FXs. So let's get it. Here's a little look at the before. So let's jump into it and get started. So for your first guideline, we're going to start right here at the point, just above the temple, and we're going to go from one side to the other. A nice consistent line, even, lots of strokes over the area so you don't miss any hair. Don't push too hard with the clipper. Let the clipper do the work. You don't want any irritation, and you also don't want to set that line in too deep so it's hard to get out. The way I like to put in this first initial guideline is I start on one side, work towards the back, and then I'll jump to the other side, work towards the back, and then I'll match them. So here we jump in with the trimmers to ball them out. We're going up. We're going to stop just underneath that line. You don't want to go to the line because the level of the trimmer is lower than your clipper's close. So don't apply a lot of pressure, no irritation. Just go up underneath the line with a light flick. And then we can flip the trimmers around like this and ball them out a little more. Now you would just stay here if he wasn't able to handle the shaver, but my client can, so we jump into the shaver. A little trick when it comes to the shaver is when you're up close to that top line, like kind of where you left off with the trimmer, you want to go with the grain. So you want to go down. When you go down, it leaves the hair a little longer than when you go up against the grain. So going down will leave a nice smooth transition for when you come up from the bottom into your down part. So this next guideline is set in with the lever open. We're going up about 1 inch just because it's a higher ball fade, and you want to do lots of passes over the area, make it nice and even before we come back with our clippers closed, and then open a tad and work on that bottom line and open as you go up higher to that top guideline that you just set in. So here you're seeing the clippers closed. I'm attacking the bottom line to blend that out, and as I move up higher to the top, I'm opening my lever, and once I'm done, I'll use the corner of my clippers, so the corner cutting technique, basically the last 2 or 3 teeth of your clipper to knock out any dark spots you see. So once you get that faded out, we're going to jump in with the one guard open, and we're going to create another guideline, basically the same width as the previous one. Lots of passes over the area, guys. You want it nice and even. It makes it easier when you're blending in from your other levels and with your other guards. So after this guard, you're going to put on your half guard. You're going to open it, and you're going to go up just underneath where you left off with this guard here, and slowly close it till you get down to that bottom line, and it should be pretty well faded out. If not, just attack it with the corner cutting techniques with your half guard to knock out any spots. So this is the half guard, guys, and I'm just playing with the lever. Close when you're lower to that line and open as you move up. That will knock out those lines and blend it all in smoothly for you. And like I said, use the corner cutting technique for any dark spots. The reason you use the corner cutting technique is because you don't want to create light spots within the fade. So when you turn your clippers on the corner, it's kind of like a thin and shear. It just knocks out those lines. Trust the process, guys. These steps here will allow you to do a fade on anybody's head and hair texture. So perfect these steps and you'll be completely fine jumping into anybody's hair. I promise you that. If you have any questions on what I'm doing here, just hit me in the comments and I'll get back to everybody individually. So here I jump back in with the one guard open, just basically cleaning up that top line to help transition into my next guard. So the next guard is my 2 open, and I'm pulling his hair on the top away from the side so I don't clip it accidentally, and it allows me to get closer to that top line and make it really clean and smooth. And then flip over to the other side, again move the hair out the way, and at the parietal ridge make sure you're going straight up and not into the round of his head. So straight up, so 90 degrees, guys. So I'm not sure if you guys ever tried using a soft paintbrush to remove the hair off your client, but man, if you haven't, you got to get yourself one of these. It's honestly the best tool for removing hair off your client. Here we have on our 1.5 guard open, and we're just attacking that bottom line to blend into your 1 guard open. So when you're higher, closer to the top where you left off, make sure your lever is open and slowly close it as you move down to that bottom line. Question for you, do you guys wear gloves when you fade or do any kind of cutting hair? I do, because I got tired of getting hair splinters in my fingers and underneath my nails and things like that. Sometimes they get infected because they get in so deep and I can't get them out. So I use gloves now and I won't go back. So let me know if you guys do the same. So we're on to the top now. You wet his hair down. You want to separate the front there, the fringe area, because we want to keep that a little longer. And so we're going to pull it up, and because he gets a comb over, the side where his part is, you want to leave a little longer than the side that's actually going to be combed over. So longer on one side, shorter on the other. Not a drastic difference, but definitely noticeable. And work your way from the front to the back, leaving the crown long. So when you hit the crown, brush it towards the front and leave that length there. You want to create weight around there so nothing's sticking up. So we're using clipper over comb. What we're doing is we're picking the hair up and we're making sure we're going straight up 90 degrees or even slightly angled out. You don't want to go into the round of his head. And we're cutting off anything that comes through the comb. So we're jumping back into it with our 3 guard and then down to our 2 guard to blend that in smoothly into the stuff you just cut off with the comb. So we're into the lineup now. I'll start in the middle and I'll work my way to the left and to the right, making sure the line is straight. Take your time, guys, this is very important. And these clippers here are zero gap, so you don't want to apply a lot of pressure. Just let your clipper do the work. These trimmers here, the Gold FX and also the Silver, are my favorite trimmers. Let me know in the comments what your favorite trimmers are. We're applying some pomade to his hair. Make sure you rub it all through your hands and in between your fingers before you rub it through his head. And you want to work it down to the base. So the reason you leave the side longer closest to his part, side you're seeing here, is so when you comb it over, nothing sticks up. You want it to be nice and smooth. So that's why you leave that longer. So I'm going to style his hair with a styling comb, which just adds a little texture and a cool look to the front of his head. This is just a little bit of hairspray to help give it some hold in the separation from the comb. Once you get his hair styled, you can go back in with your clippers over comb to knock off anything that's hanging over that shouldn't be. So we're just hitting it with the thinning shears just to make a smooth transition. So I have on a 1.5 guard here, and I'm just being careful that I don't go too high. And this is just to blend out any little lines that you see up around the top or going into your tube. So now we're going to add some enhancements to the front of his line to make it pop. I have in some dark brown Kiss Express, thinned out with some alcohol, and just add that lightly. You don't want it to look unnatural. It looks too fake when you put it on heavy. I like to thin my mixtures out with alcohol over water. I find alcohol keeps the color. The water kind of turns it a purplish color. I'm not exactly sure why that is, so if you know, maybe mention that in the comments. But I always use alcohol to thin out my dyes. As you can see, that dye, that enhancement, man, really makes his line pop. Let me know if you guys use enhancements. I know a lot of guys kind of hate on them, but me, I like to do what I gotta do to make my client feel his best. And if that's adding some enhancements, then I add them. So these clippers here are the Babyless Rose Gold clippers. I use these for detailing. They have a really soft cut to them. So they don't really cut the hair off too clean. They kind of chew it up. So that's the reason why I do all my detail work with these clippers. So here's the finished cut, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. We did a high skin fade with the comb over, styled his hair, added some enhancements. He's back, he's fresh, he's crisp. Let me know what you think. Enjoy your day. Deuces.